Hey, if you're ready to make the best apple pie ever, then stick with me because today I'll give you all 7 of my secrets to the pie that people tell me is the best they've ever had. And I'll walk you through it step by step. The kitchen is now open, so come on in. Let's cook up something good. My number 1 secret for this pie is a great homemade pie crust. A refrigerated pie crust from the deli section can work, but it wouldn't be my first choice because this is so much better. And I'll show you exactly how to do it right now.
First, measure out 5 cups of flour and add 1½ teaspoon salt and 1 teaspoon sugar. Mix together and set aside. In a separate bowl, measure out 2 cups of shortening. Add dry ingredients and blend with a pastry cutter until pebbly. Crack 1 large egg into a 1 cup measuring cup, beat with a fork, and then fill with water to the 1 cup measuring line. Add the liquid to your pebbly mixture and mix until all dry ingredients are incorporated into the dough. Don't be afraid to use your hands if that's easier. Using your fist, press the dough into the bottom of the bowl as evenly as possible. Divide into 4 portions for 10-inch pies or 5 portions for 8 or 9-inch pies. Tear 2 large squares of wax or parchment paper for each portion. Take each portion and mold into a ball and then flatten into a 5 to 6 inch disc. Each disc will become 1 pie crust. Place each disc between 2 squares of paper and press out to 6 to 7 inches. Wrap and place all discs in zippered freezer bag. Chill in freezer 1 hour before use or freeze up to 6 months. Thaw frozen discs for 30 minutes at room temperature before use. If you see white spots in the dough, it's okay. It's just shortening. Unwrap the thawed disc, but leave between the paper. Roll out your disc, changing directions for even thickness and to keep as round as possible. Measure your dough to the pie pan. You want at least 1 inch clearance all around. Peel off top paper. Lift dough with bottom paper and flip into pie pan and adjust to center. Press dough gently into pan, making sure there are no air bubbles, then carefully remove the paper. Roll the edges under and gently stretch as needed to create uniform thickness. Crimp the edge of your crust as desired. This is the point technique, and this is the rope technique. And that's all there is to it. And here is your finished pie crust, ready to be filled.
Secret number 2 is my spice blend. I add 1 cup of Splenda or sugar, 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 3/4 teaspoons of cinnamon, and a dash of salt, and stir them all together until combined and set them aside. Secret number 3, a unique apple blend to balance flavor and texture. This is a 10 apple pie, and I always start with 3 tart Granny Smith and 3 sweet Golden Delicious. Then I add 2 types of tart sweet apples. Normally, I'd use 2 Fujis, but these are kind of small, so I'm adding 1 extra plus 2 pink ladies. If you need help on your blend, ask your grocer or shoot me a note. Secret number 4. Thinly sliced apples that are about the same size so they layer nicely in the pan and cook evenly. And this little machine will do the trick and save a ton of time and effort. It peels, cores, and slices all at the same time. See the link in the description. Using a paring knife, remove any leftover skin and bruises. Then quarter the apple and check the center for any of those hard seed casings and cut them out. Those things are nasty and you don't want them in your pie.
The prep work is done, so now it's time to put it all together. But there are still 3 more secrets you don't want to miss.
Now it's time to spice up my apples with that awesome spice mix. Pour the mix onto the cut apples and blend together with a spoon until thoroughly coated. Place your pie crust on a parchment-lined baking sheet, and now it's time to assemble. And here's secret number 5, densely packed apples. Add your apples a bit at a time, mounding them up and gently pressing to fit. Arrange them like layers within the crust. A bit of neatness counts here. You don't want any big gaps or slices sticking up or hanging over the crust. This is a French-style apple pie, so I'm making a pretty standard crumbled top, and it's really easy. But I'm going to add one more element at the very end. I slice 1 stick of chilled butter into a medium bowl and add 1 cup of all-purpose flour and a half a cup of light brown sugar. Then I blend with a pastry cutter or fork. Because the butter is cold, it can clog the cutter, so it's okay to break it up with your hands if needed. The result should be a rough crumble. I add the crumble top and very gently guide it into place, making sure all of the apples are covered. Too much pressure will turn my topping into a helmet, and I'm not looking for that. Finally, I add secret number 6, a light dusting of cinnamon, which adds a little excitement to the crumb topping. And let's face it, apples cry out for more cinnamon, so I give it to them. Before heading to the oven, it's time for secret number 7, a large foil tent. I tent my pie with aluminum foil to keep the crumb topping from overcooking or burning. Using the back of my hand, I pop the foil up from underneath to create a protective dome to loosely fit over the top of my pie.
On your mark, get set, bake! My pie is in the oven set for 45 minutes, and when the time's up, I lose the tent and add another 5 to 7 minutes so that the crust and topping can brown. But keep a close eye on it because that brown sugar can burn easily. Once it's out of the oven, allow the pie to cool for at least 30 minutes before serving. Better yet, give it an hour. This recipe does take some work, but you can do this, and the results are so worth it. It's one more example of great home cooking made easy. This recipe does take some work, but you can do it, and the result